I try a little something different tonight. You know, my brother, loving to death, he likes talking about conspiracies. I don't mind talking about conspiracies. I do love a good conspiracy. But first, before I start on Chris's science talk, I would like to put a little emphasis on a couple things. First, I'd like to start out with describing the difference between a hypothesis and a theory. A hypothesis is basically the same thing as my opinion, your opinion, anybody's opinion. It's just an opinion. It's something we feel. It's something we think. It's a thought, more or less. A theory is a thought, an opinion that has some substantial facts that support it. If you'd like an example, let's talk about the theory of evolution. It's perfect. All this smoke, no fire. Scientists agree globally that evolution should be considered a fact. But it is not a fact, it is still a theory of evolution. Why is it a theory? Because they have all of this evidence that supports it. But there is no factual evidence. So again, all smoke, no fires. So now that we've established the difference between a hypothesis and a theory, let me explain. In the beginning, we all believe in the Big Bang. That's what scientists like to talk about. They talk about in the beginning how everything was everything, you, me, stardust, the sun, the skies, everything. It was all back into a single singularity. Now this singularity is what they like to call it because they can't think of anything else. Now singularity is also used in other terms. They use a singularity to describe a black hole. They use a singularity to describe a white hole. They use a singularity to talk about the beginning. Before time was time, before the sun was the sun, before an atom was an atom. Everything was combined to this one single something that is smaller than that. Now, if I was to believe this was true, according to Albert Einstein, which until Stephen Hawking was considered the greatest, and to this day still considered the greatest scientist that ever lived, the smartest man to ever walk the earth, Albert Einstein came up with a theory of relativity because of a thought. Albert Einstein is considered to be one of the greatest geniuses that ever walked the face of the earth because of the way that he used his thought process in order to come up with these grand ideas, these grand theories, these grand hypotheses to explain everything that we have today. So in his thought process, he's sitting around, imagine if you will, thinking about science, thinking about gravity, and he comes up with this mathematical equation that explains everything. It only shows up when you're able to see it in 11 different dimensions. You can't see it in 3, you can't see it in 4, you can't see it in 8. But when you get it in 11 different dimensions, Albert Einstein's theory of relativity pops up. Is that a coincidence? I personally don't think so, but that's beyond me. I don't have an education big enough to be able to support that. So with that being said, let me go ahead and elaborate. Albert Einstein's math, even though he was not a genius, even though he was not a mathematician, his math was flawless. It pointed out the black hole 40 years before we ever discovered it. It showed we have these creatures that are running around in this atmosphere, not in this atmosphere, running around this universe, that are absorbing everything. They're so strong, they're so dense that the gravity on it is containing the light that's trying to escape it. Heat itself cannot escape it. I personally am just baffled by something that is miraculous as a black hole. These things, they weigh so much. It started out no different than our sun. And it's got so much weight that light itself can't escape it. I'm intrigued. I gotta know more. Albert Einstein predicted this 40 years before we ever was even technologically advanced enough to prove they ever even existed. You know what else Albert Einstein also predicted existed? That to this day, we have never proved is here. A white hole. Let me explain. A black hole is a term. It's a layman's term. It's a layman's term that we used. It's a nickname that we gave it. Albert Einstein never in his theory of relativity said a black hole. That's just a term we use to describe the math that he put out. A white hole is also a term that Albert Einstein used after us, the regular, low-class, average educated citizen, termed black hole. He came up with a white hole. Now what this is, his math predicts if there's a black hole, if there's something that weighs so much that it's able to take mass, take atoms, take energy out of our universe, out of our multisphere, if you'll give it, then you could turn around and have a white hole, which is actually producing elements into this universe. Now, if this white hole is producing elements into this universe, what does that sound like exactly? I'm not a scientist, but me having common sense, I like to put two and two together. If you take everything and put it together, what did they call it at the beginning? They call it a singularity. It's something that's smaller than an atom. We can't even measure it. So we have this singularity that is a black hole, according to Einstein's math. And we also have a singularity that's a white hole, according to Einstein's math. So we have all these black holes that are sucking atoms, gases, hydrogen, oxygen, metal, iron, anything you can think of, every element on the elemental table. It's sucking it right out of our universe. But according to astrophysics and quantum physics, every single bit, every particle that has ever been created, we should be able to rewind it and recreate it. So it never really truly dissipates. It never really truly disappears. So we have that argument in science. Where's the argument showing that we might actually be in a black hole? That's my thought. That's my theory. If you've taken something as small as an atom and it weighs so much that it's stopping light from escaping it, and everything is getting sucked into it, for our perception, it would be a black hole. But if you were in the other dimension, the other universe, if you will, if you will let me, this multi-dimensional universe on that side, it seems like a white hole, does it not? So, are we living in a black hole? Was the Big Bang actually the collapse of the supermassive star that started it all? That's all I got to say for Science Talk with Chris. Thank you very much for my drunk history and drunk science.